How's this experience so far been?
It's been great. Yeah, the people have both at the Broadmoor. So I'm a little out of breath from walking up the stairs. I have not acclimated to the altitude yet. The players may have. Yeah, the Broadmoor we're staying is a great hotel. They've done a great job. They've made it very functional for us for meeting rooms. The technology, everything there is outstanding. They've been great. The Air Force Academy's been outstanding to open their doors to us and let us train. And yesterday we're in the outdoor field. Today the snow. We moved indoors. It was even a better practice today. So it was really outstanding.
Any trepidation at all because it is turf as opposed to grass?
No, it's just. I mean, I get it. Everybody's got a thing, but it's. We've had guys go down in our practices on grass. You've had guys, knock on wood, we go out there, practice hard, everything's fine, and I think the guys know how to take care of themselves. It's so hard to put anything on and say. So no, I mean, it's guys just know how to take care of themselves.
A couple of times this year, and they note that Trent's outside foot tends to tip off the defensive foul, whether it's a run or a pass. Is there anything to that? Have you kind of scrutinized that at all?
Yeah, we've always done. I've worked with Trent since 2010, and then on and off in those years. And Trent's always, conscious of it. So yeah, there are times when, and again, not counting third downs and empty backfields where it's obviously passing situations. We're always monitoring to see where he is, and he's always working on it. I mean, sometimes it's just you get in a situation where you start getting your stance, you realize what you need to do to get your job done. Demands that you just say, yeah, whatever, I got to get my job done. And other times, there is times where he could be more conscious of it. And so it's a constant battle with every player. Every player could give a tip. So whether it's Trent with his foot, whether it's Mike with this, or Spencer with this, or the center with this, when he's going to snap the ball, we're always looking at it. We're listening to the TV copy. We're listening to everything. We're trying to see what the other teams may or may not get on it. So, if they think it's a tip, again, we're working on it. Trent's working on it. And so that's about all I can say.
What are traditional or typical tips that offensive linemen have? Just where they are in stances?
It can be anything. Some guys have nervous tics, like they're moving their hand, and then just before the ball snap, they stop it. We had one, we did forget the tips of an offensive lineman. We had a formation tendency when I was in Baltimore once where the tight end, if the tight end was off the ball, we just gotten into a bad habit. And every time he was off the ball, he was in protection. Every time he was on the ball, he was releasing on third down. And a defensive coordinator, Vic Fangio, actually, every time the tight end was off the ball, they ran a 3-man rush and dropped 8. We didn't have enough guys out in the route, and they gave us fits all day. Every time he was on the ball, he rushed more than we could block just because of where we lined up the tight end. So I think there's whatever, everybody's got something. Sometimes it's just as much as the stagger of the feet. It can be where he puts his hands. It can be how he holds his head. It can be the center of the way. There's a million things and that's why you have to stay vigilant with it. That's why to say that, oh wow, that's a surprise. We're always conscious of trying to work through all those things with the guys. At the same time, a guy's got to do his job, and so there's that constant balance. And I'm always making the point, hey, yeah, I got it, for a player. This is good for you in this situation. It's the same with fundamentals and techniques. This fundamental is good. If all I have to do is block Jen, I'm in great shape right here, right? But if all of a sudden this and this and this happens, I better be doing something different to make sure all those things are taken care of. It's the same thing with this thing. It may be great for you to be able to block this guy, but with everything else that goes on, maybe it tips off that they change a coverage to know that it's this, that, or the other thing. So it's this constant balancing act. So it's not as simple as you get in the same stance every play. Here we go, let's, 4 yards in a cloud of dust and throw the ball on third down. And it's not that simple. There's more to it than that, but it's also as simple as, hey, you got to make sure there's balance to it. It's a long answer, but it's a lot of questions about it.
It's one of those things where he's so good he can almost tell you what's coming and it's hard to beat him, but it's
Well,
about the rest of the offense.
I think that's a great way to look at it. I think he's like, yeah, coach, but I ain't going to give that guy anything on me by getting in a, and I'm like, I got you, boy. I got you, Trent. But it's like also, what about McGlinchey on the other side where the one guy says to the other guy, hey, it's pass. And all of a sudden there's no run keys on the other side. So there's that balancing act that goes on. It happens everywhere. It's not just Mike. It's not just them. It could be receiver splits. It could be the way the receiver stands. It could be, there's a million things that defenses are looking at trying to get a key.
Look for those things when you're on the sideline when you're looking at the defensive line.
We look at it when we're watching the tape. On game day, I'm a little bit more, a little busier than that. But yeah, you do look at the tape. Sometimes, I'm sorry, one thing to follow up. Sometimes to give a plug for Surface here, the Surface you can see things sometimes on the pictures that say, hey, notice, on the game, the defensive end, notice he's a little bit deeper here, and that they ran that stunt, so maybe next time they might do the same. The little things like that sometimes show up.
What's the number one concern facing
I tell you what, every week is a great challenge. It's coach talk, but they are definitely they're a talented group, man, and they play really hard and really fast. Vance Joseph does a great job with that defense. He always has. He uses those guys, maximizes their ability, how they use number 9, how they use 25, 99 still playing at a high level. I don't want to leave anybody out. Number 3 is one of the best players in the NFL right now. They just maximize, and Vance does a great job. Matt Burke is their new defensive line coach. I think this year's his first year doing the D-line there. I worked with Matt before. He's an outstanding D-line coach. He has those guys playing harder than ever. So for an offensive line and a protection, and from an offensive standpoint, man, that front 7, 8, if you include the safeties, both those safeties they're great players. This is a talented defense, and they present a great challenge both in the run game because they are very physical and they play a physical brand of football. And we got to be ready to match it. It does, but every year everybody tweaks things every year. You get they've tweaked something. They've taken some pages from the Fangio quote unquote fan book with some of the things they're doing that's not traditional for them. So even though you've worked with Vance, there's certain things that I've heard Vance in the hallways before talking about. Hey, this situation, this has always been my philosophy. It always will be my philosophy. And so you realize, hey, I think he's probably still, and you watch the tape, he's still doing that. And that doesn't give you a huge advantage, except it gives you a little bit of an idea of what might happen. I love it. And in fact, we've spoken in here before about needing some of the best running backs have had the second back with them. Some of the best running attacks in the history of the NFL have been 2 backs. You go back to the Green Bay days, right? Paul Hornung and Jim Taylor, and you can look at. I always think of LaDainian Tomlinson, and there was another cat that was with him out there with the Chargers. I can't remember. Turner was his name. I can't remember. But anyway, having that other guy, the 2 guys in Green Bay work great in tandem together. So it's awesome, yeah. Because if you want to run the ball 30, if you have a game that you're going to carry 30, 40 times, that's a lot of carries. And if those guys are playing on third down, that's a lot of snaps. And that's the one position when you have the ball in your hands, unless you're the quarterback, that's where guys are getting really, really punished. That part of the game is still one of the most physical parts of the game. The way a runner gets hit when he has the football or a receiver gets hit when he has the football, short of taking a shot to a head, it's all bets are off when you're running with the ball in the open field. And those guys do it every play. They've got to be some of the toughest hombres out there, man. They've not hombres, sorry, we're going to Mexico. I didn't mean that. But they got to be tough guys out there to be able to handle that stuff and be able to to take that beating. So that's why having 2 guys to answer your question is really, really good. And I like the way, and I'll jump one step ahead. And it's not like one guy's any better than anything. They both kind of have the same skill set. I think Elijah runs with a certain style once they get somewhere, but the great thing about both these guys is they both got great vision. So whatever we block it for, they're going to find the hole. And whatever they can do past then is on their natural abilities. But very rarely do they miss something. Very rarely are they not getting what's designed. And that's what's really nice. You don't feel a drop-off when the other guy goes in, and then you feel whatever their skill set is. One may do this a little bit more, that a little bit more, but nothing drops off. You don't have to tailor plays or anything. You just say, okay, it's time to give the guy a couple snaps off.
Chris, we got a friend, we can see the progress he's made over the years as a pass catcher. Maybe not as obvious or quantifiable in the run game, but what he does, he was asked a lot of your receivers. How has he grown in that aspect?
Well, BA's a tough guy now. BA catches the ball, puts it away, does what he's supposed to do with it in the pass game, runs his routes, does all that stuff. But in the blocking game, man, never turns it down. He likes to block, like all receivers, man. It's like it's a balancing act between getting them catches and doing everything like that and then blocking. They're not all going to be trained killers 24/7. But BA does an outstanding job of blocking. Debo does a great job. Jennings does a great job. All our guys, I don't want to leave anybody out. They all do it. They put their head not their head. They put their bodies in there. They go after it. They block. They do what they're supposed to do. And Brandon's really developed it because that's something in college oftentimes that they're not expected to do. So it's a learned thing when they get to the NFL.